Hello and welcome to the Commander's Quarters. I'm your host, Mitch. Glad to have you here. Here at the Commander's Quarters, we're all about Commander on a budget. Today we have an episode of Commander's 2 Cents. On episodes like these, I give you my own personal take on topics about the format in general and current news. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. And while you're at it, subscribe and review our podcast as well. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support. So on today's episode, we're going to be talking about the most hated commanders of all time. Now, in a previous episode, we talked about the most hated or saltiest commander cards in general. On that episode, we talked about the most hated cards and we try to bucket them and talk about why they're so hated. Now, the commanders I'm going to mention today were probably mentioned in some of those buckets, but today I want to dig into the details about why you really don't want to see that commander on the other side of the table when you're starting a game. And when it comes to these hated cards, we're going to be using that salt score from EDH Rec. Now, hated and salty don't exactly mean the exact same thing, but they're similar enough. Anyways, the salt score goes from 0 to 4 on EDH Rec, so the more salty a card is, the closer it gets to 4. For the most part, if a card is salty, it's at least going to have a score that's around 2-ish. Also, there are some commanders that are definitely on that list, but I'm going to be excluding them today, and I'll go through why. The first reason is that they're more so in the 99 of most decks instead of being an actual commander. You're definitely more likely to see these in the 99 of a deck than you are to see them actually running a deck. So for the purpose of this most hated commanders list, they're more so a 99 hate versus a commander hate. Just bear with me. So some of the legendary creatures that show up on that list that I'm not including are Elish Norn, Jin-Gitaxias, and Vorinclex. These three praetors are absolutely brutal in what they do, and their salt scores definitely reflect that. Elish Norn has a salt score of 2.13, Jin-Gitaxias is 2.6, and Vorinclex is all the way up at 2.87. But again, for the purposes of this list, I'm not considering them because, again, they're more so in the 99. The same can be said for some of the Eldrazi like Kozilek, Butcher of Truth, Ulamog the Infinite Gyre, and Ulamog the Ceaseless Hunger. If you're seeing these in Commander, they're probably in the 99 of a deck and not just running it. And in my opinion, the same can be said for Emrakul the Promised End and Avacyn Angel of Hope. Again, in my opinion, you're more likely to see them in the 99 than you are as a commander, and that's just my opinion. Some of you will definitely disagree with that, and that's okay, just know that they're not going to be on my personal list. And there are other ones that are, let's just say, too salty for consumption. In that EDH Rec list, they do include some creatures that are actually banned, so I'm not going to be including those. And that includes Arayo, which is at a 2.13, Griselbrand, which is at a 2.41, and Iona, which is at a 2.94. And the legendary creature that actually has the highest salt score that's not going to be included is Leovold, Emissary of Tress, because again, it's banned. And you can see at a 2.95, people really got salty about Leovold before it was banned. So again, some creatures that might have made EDH Rec's list aren't going to be on mine because they're more so in the 99, or they're actually banned and aren't going to show up here. But now that we've established all of that, let's get into it. I'm going to be taking you through the commanders that make that list that are the least salty to the saltiest. So on that EDH Rec top 100 saltiest cards list, the least salty commander on there is Derevi Imperial Tactician. Derevi has a salt score of 1.99, which is right around that 2 threshold that I was talking about. Again, if you just made the top 100 saltiest cards, you're probably right around that too. Anyways, Derevi is a 2/3 bird wizard with flying that costs green, white, blue. She has when she enters the battlefield or a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you may tap or untap target permanent. And by paying 1 green, white, blue, you can put Derevi onto the battlefield from the command zone. So the reason that many players hate or are salty about Derevi is because she's a stacks commander. The stacks deck essentially works to deprive everyone of resources with cards like Stasis, Winter Orb, and Static Orb. Not allowing players to untap their things is pretty brutal. And that's why a lot of people get salty or hate playing against stacks. Now these effects are symmetrical, so they should affect all players equally. But Derevi is a very effective stacks commander because it breaks that symmetry. It gives you another way to untap or tap permanents. Also, she essentially gives you a way to cheat on commander attacks, which can also make it hard to deal with. So because of her effectiveness with stacks decks, that's why she made this list. But now let's move on to a slightly saltier commander with Zur the Enchanter. Zur's salt score is higher than Derevi's at 2.09. He's a 1/4 human wizard with flying that costs 1 white, blue, black. He has whenever Zur the Enchanter attacks, you may search your library for an enchantment card with converted mana cost of 3 or less and put it onto the battlefield. If you do, shuffle your library. A repeatable tutor on a body is a pretty powerful thing. Zur decks are essentially always going to have a response for whatever you're doing. And again, like Derevi, Zur can be a very effective stacks commander. Many people don't like playing against stacks decks, so that's why it's so hated and salty. It can go grab cards like Desolation, Energy Flux, or Grasp of Fate. Desolation can slow everyone down and destroy their lands, Energy Flux deals with artifacts, and Grasp of Fate can deal with pretty much anything. And a Zur deck really doesn't care about their own resources as long as they can keep attacking with Zur. Even without any lands or mana rocks, they can still tutor for things for free and get them into play. This can lead to a decently long and drawn out game where they're just killing through combat damage with Xur. And that's what makes Xur so salty for some people. And next up, we've got one of the most popular commanders of all time with Atraxa. Atraxa Praetor's Voice comes in with a salt score of 2.14. She's a 4/4 Angel Horror that has Flying, Vigilance, Death Touch, and Lifelink that costs green, white, blue, black. And she has at the beginning of your end step, Proliferate. Atraxa has this high of a salt score for probably two reasons. The first is that people are probably tired of seeing her on the table. Again, she's one of the most popular commanders out there, so you're probably going to see her a ton if you're out playing a bit. And while you can build her in a lot of different ways, there are probably a few that people don't like playing against. Now, she can be built with +1/+1 counters or -1/-1 counters, which is probably not why people don't like her. One way might be Infect, which some people don't like playing against, and another might be Super Friends, which other people don't like playing against. She not only proliferates, but she also gives you access to some of the best planeswalkers with her colors. You can use things like Oath of Teferi, Doubling Season, and Narset Transcendent in an Atraxa deck. And a lot of people don't like that interaction with Doubling Season and planeswalkers, and the planeswalker just being able to ultimate right away. Super Friends decks can be pretty slow in plotting and then just combo out of nowhere to win. And again, Atraxa's popularity probably works against her when it comes to making this list. But an even saltier commander is Send Triplets. Send Triplets comes in with a salt score of 2.17. It's a 3/3 human wizard that costs 2 white, blue, black. It says at the beginning of your upkeep, choose target opponent. This turn, that player can't play spells or activate abilities and plays with their hand revealed. You can play cards from that player's hand this turn. A lot of players generally don't like when you play with their stuff. So that involves stealing creatures, but it also involves just literally casting things from their hand for you. And because it's a targeted effect, it probably makes this effect even a bit saltier. Essentially, a Send Triplets deck will work to fix its mana with something like Chromatic Lantern. It can also play something like Telepathy, which is a decently salty card on its own. Telepathy says your opponents play with their hands revealed. So essentially, everyone knows what everyone else has, but they don't know what you have. So basically, the Send Triplets player has perfect information on who they should target and when. And then this player will also play cards like Mnemonic Betrayal, which allows them to cast cards in different ways too. Again, many players don't like when you play with their things, and Send Triplets is definitely all about that. But as I mentioned before, many players also hate Infect. So Skithiryx the Blight Dragon, also known as Skittles, comes in with a salt score of 2.23. It's a 4/4 dragon skeleton with flying that costs 3 black black. It has Infect, so this creature deals damage to creatures in the form of -1/-1 counters and to players in the form of poison counters. By paying a black, Skithiryx the Blight Dragon gains haste until end of turn, and by paying black black, you regenerate Skithiryx. So again, many players don't like Infect because the threshold to kill is pretty low. While you might start off with 40 life in Commander, that really doesn't matter to the Infect player because it only takes 10 poison counters to kill you. Skithiryx can gain haste so it can hit right away and can also be hard to kill because you can regenerate it too. This deck is just looking to kill people quickly, so it's got things like Dark Ritual, Lightning Greaves, and Lash Writhe. Fast mana that come from things like Rituals can help you get Skithiryx out quickly and start hitting. And then Lightning Greaves will also protect Skithiryx on top of giving it haste without having to pay for that. And then pump effects like Lash Writhe will just turn Skithiryx into pretty much a one-shot kill. Again, many players don't like Infect, and therefore many players don't like Skittles. But an even saltier commander is Gaddock Teeg. Gaddock Teeg comes with a salt score of 2.28. It's a 2/2 Kithkin Advisor that costs green-white. It says non-creature spells with converted mana cost of 4 or greater can't be cast, and non-creature spells with X in their mana cost can't be cast. Now, real quick before we get into this one, there's probably an argument for this one to be in the more so in the 99 category. I was on the fence about it, but I decided to keep it in this list, so just deal with it. Anyways, Gaddock Teeg just doesn't allow certain players to play, and a lot of players don't like that. My entire Joda deck is pretty much just shut down because this guy's in play. If you like casting big things, too bad, no fun for you, you can't play. And Gaddock Teeg decks might just run a bunch of other hate bears that can really slow things down and just impede your opponents. So you might see cards like Avid Mind Sensor, Hushbringer, and Spear of the Labyrinth. Gaddock Teeg decks just for the most part like to say no a lot, and you can't do that, and a lot of people just don't like that. And again, you very well might see Gaddock Teeg in the 99 of decks as well. But one commander that's definitely not in that 99 discussion is Narset Enlightened Master. Narset comes out with a salt score of 2.33, and that's pretty much 100% attributed to it being a commander. She's a 3/2 human monk with first strike and hexproof that costs 3 blue, red, white. She has whenever Narset Enlightened Master attacks, exile the top 4 cards of your library. Until your next turn, you may cast non-creature cards exile with Narset this turn without paying their mana cost. So firstly, Narset has hexproof, so she can be pretty hard to stop. And secondly, she can just lead to a very long turn for your opponents that can really whiff and then really annoy you. So you're basically going to be watching someone play Solitaire for probably about 10 minutes, and they may or may not win from there. Narset's going to let you cast some huge things for free like Omniscience, Speaking of Tomorrows, and Seize the Day. If you keep hitting more extra turn spells and more extra combats, you're just going to keep going and going and going. You're going to keep doing this over and over again until everyone's dead, hoping you hit more and more things off the top that you want to cast. It's not that enjoyable experience for other players, especially when you eventually whiff and then don't kill everyone and then just wait for your next turn to do it all over again. It's a very powerful commander, but again, many players don't like watching Solitaire. But still, the saltiest commander on my list is even more salty with Grand Arbiter Augustin IV. He comes in with the highest salt score of today at 2.46. He is a 2/3 human advisor that costs 2 white blue. He has white spells you cast cost 1 to cast, blue spells you cast cost 1 to cast, and spells your opponents cast cost 1 more to cast. So this commander might reduce the cost of your spells, but it taxes your opponents and makes their spells even more expensive to cast. So that's somewhat of a form of resource denial because you're forcing your opponents to spend more resources to do the same thing they already be doing. It's like a stacks tax deck. And this kind of a deck's going to have even more taxing effects like things like Aura of Silence, Propaganda, and Spelltithe Enforcer. They're going to make it more expensive to cast certain spells or do certain things or just take any actions. Again, it can really grind a game to a halt and stop your opponents from doing pretty much anything. And that's what makes him such a salty commander. But with that, the show is coming to a close and it's my turn to hear from you. So in the comments below, let me know what your most hated commander is. And make sure you're following us on social media for more updates and sneak peeks on future episodes. Again, a huge thank you to my patrons who help make this show possible. I truly couldn't do any of this without your support. If you want to support this channel directly, consider becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, including being able to vote on future commanders for deck techs. There are even tiers where you get your own personalized deck tech dedicated to you. You can check out all the Patreon tiers and rewards at patreon.com/commandersquarters. If you haven't already, make sure that you like and subscribe to the channel. Here at the Commander's Quarters, we're all about budget commander. So while you're at it, go ahead and check out some of our other types of episodes. And with that, I'm out of here. Thanks again and have a good one.